I, 16-year-old male, always knew I was adopted. My parents never hid that from me. It was not until recently when I found out that my dad has been in contact with my biological parents for over 2 years. My dad told me this and basically told me that I had two older siblings and had a twin brother as well. This completely shocked me as I felt kind of weirded out knowing I had a twin and siblings. I feel uncomfortable too, and I'm not really sure why, but I also felt lied to. I asked my dad why he hid this from me for so long, and he told me that my biological parents didn't want me to know and just wanted to keep tabs on me. He said it wasn't until a couple of days ago they asked if I would be open to meeting them. They live in a different state and wanted us to come and fly out to them, or vice versa. I was still kind of weirded out by this and told my parents that I didn't think it would be a good idea. My dad asked me why, and I told him that I would feel very uncomfortable with the idea and that I doubt I could even talk to them. I told him that they were basically strangers and that he knows how uncomfortable I get around strangers. My dad told me that he thinks that they're nice people and he'll know I'll love them. I told my dad again that I was okay and that I didn't want to talk to them. My dad and I had a long talk and he started telling me more about them and the reason I was giving away stuff. Being honest, this only made me not want to meet them more, and I told my dad that. I asked him to tell them that I appreciate them wanting to get in touch with me, but I was fine. My dad was not happy and told me that all my brothers wanted to meet me, and it'll be wrong of me to deprive them of that relationship when they had no say in whether I was given up or not. My dad told me that he wasn't going to decline their offer and was going to tell my bio parents that I would be glad to meet them, which is false. I talked to my mom about, and she told me that my dad only wanted what was best for me, but I told her that he wasn't doing anything for my best interest, and he should tell him to stop, but she told me that she wasn't doing that. I tried to talk to my dad again to tell them that I didn't want to talk to them, but he told me that I would be mentally challenged not to take this opportunity, and I'm being ungrateful and selfish for not wanting to meet them because I wouldn't have had them if they never gave me up. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. This is a tough lesson that we all eventually learn. Sometimes our parents are wrong. Sometimes they do not know what is best for us and only think they do. Your feelings and thoughts come first. If you have spent time thinking about it and have been measured and painstaking in that process, and you come up with "I don't want to," then there you go, and your dad has to have a come to Jesus moment and accept that as your wishes. Change your mind later or don't, go with your gut. Good luck, bud. Comment 2. Wow, your dad and your mom are the AH here. He is disregarding your feelings in a very hurtful way. Do you have a doctor therapist you can talk to? A priest, minister, or even a school counselor? You can ask them, "What's the rush? This can't wait until I'm 18 to give me some time to get used to the idea." As an adopted person, you can tell them, from me, that they are being emotionally hurtful to you in doing this. It's like your feelings don't matter, and that's BS. Now for the update. Thanks for sticking around to hear more about this mess. So after all that drama with my dad, things got even more twisted. My mom, who had been on my side, suddenly flipped the script. She started pushing me to meet my biological family too. It was like she and my dad had some secret meeting and decided to tag team against me. I couldn't believe it. The two people who were supposed to have my back were now cornering me into doing something I didn't want to do. Then out of nowhere, my dad drops the news. He tells me that my biological parents are actually pretty wealthy. They've been sending money for years, kind of like child support, I guess. My dad had been stashing it away in a college fund for me. That's when it hit me. Was this all about money? Were my adoptive parents just trying to keep the cash flow going by playing nice? I felt sick to my stomach. My whole life, I thought my parents were these honest, straightforward people. Now I was starting to question everything. But it didn't stop there. My dad said that my biological family wanted to set up a trust fund for me, but only if I agreed to meet them. It was like they were trying to buy me, and my dad was acting like some kind of broker. I was so angry I couldn't even look at him. I told him to forget it, that I didn't want their money, but he just wouldn't let up. He kept saying how this could set me up for life, how I'd be a fool to turn it down. It was like he didn't even know me at all. And then, as if things couldn't get any worse, my twin brother from my biological family reached out to me directly. He sent me this long email talking about how he felt this void in his life and how he always knew something was missing. He said he understood if I didn't want to meet the rest of the family, but he hoped I'd give him a chance. I didn't know what to do. Part of me felt bad for the guy. It wasn't his fault we were separated. But another part of me was just so overwhelmed by all the manipulation and pressure from every angle. I didn't respond to the email. A few days later, my dad said we were going on a trip to clear our heads. But when we got to the airport, I saw tickets to the state where my biological family lived. He had planned the whole thing behind my back, even after I told him I wasn't ready. I felt betrayed. I couldn't believe he'd go this far. I refused to board the plane. We had a huge fight right there in the airport. People were staring, but I didn't care. I was so done with being pushed around. My dad said I was making a huge mistake, but I told him the only mistake was him not listening to me. We went home in silence. I spent the next few days locked in my room, not talking to anyone. My mom tried to smooth things over, but I just couldn't face her. I felt like I was living with strangers. Then, just when I thought it couldn't get any more complicated, my biological parents showed up at our house. They had flown out to see me after my dad told them about the airport incident. I was cornered again, but this time, I had nowhere to run. We sat in the living room, everyone tiptoeing around the elephant in the room. My biological parents were nice, I guess. They tried to explain why they gave me up, how it was the hardest decision they ever made. But it all just sounded like excuses to me. They left after a couple of hours, and I was left feeling more confused than ever. My dad was smug, like he had won some kind of prize. But I just felt empty. I didn't know who to trust anymore. So that's where I'm at now, stuck in the middle of a tug-of-war between two families, with a bunch of money hanging over my head like some golden carrot. And the worst part? I'm starting to wonder if I ever really knew my adoptive parents at all. Thanks for listening to my venting. My parents kept me out of school and lied about online enrollment, so I exposed their neglect and got them investigated by Child Services. Hello. My 16-year-old female parents, both about 55 years old, their age doesn't matter, I don't even know it, decided to homeschool me when I was born. I have no school records or report cards. They kept me inside my whole life. And they didn't teach me anything. Educational neglect. Throughout my whole life, I don't know much math. I only know the very basics that you would give a kindergartner. 1 + 1, 2 + 2, 10 + 10, those types. I have been begging them to enroll me in public school since I was 9. It's never been a no, it's always been a next year with some excuse for why it's next year yet again. I'm tired of it. I literally cannot teach myself. I've tried to learn math alone since I was 14, but I can't. I just don't get it at all. I need someone in the room with me, helping me, teaching me. Not only the educational neglect, but they also never let me out of the house until I was old enough to go out alone. I can now go on walks and such, but that doesn't help me find any friends. I have had no friends or family growing up. We stay inside and avoid people. So 2 months ago, I decided that since they won't help me with anything, then I don't need them. I have my ID. It was hell convincing them to take me down and get it. But I managed after 3 years. I've been ignoring them. I go out and make myself food, all while they try to talk to me. But I say nothing. I act like I live alone in this house now. I don't hear or see them. I've told them why. I told them if they enroll me, I'll stop. They haven't. I'm holding on strong, and I haven't broken it yet. But I'm starting to feel bad. My mom's been crying, saying things like, "What did I ever do to you, baby? Please, I just wanted to protect you." It hurts. Even my dad has had some tears because of this. I refuse to eat my favorite meal that he makes. And they're both calling me a terrible human, saying they didn't raise a jerk who would do something like this. I miss them. I do love them. I don't know if what I'm doing is right or if I'm actually going too far. We were so happy together before I decided to do this. ETA. I forgot to add that the reason I'll talk to them again once I turn 18 is because I'll enroll myself into a community college. I have zero source of income, so sadly, I can't move away once I do turn 18, and no jobs have contacted me back. I have plans for income when I turn 18, though. I have contacted authorities many times, but they won't do anything. Edit. Thank you so much to everyone giving me advice. It's strange to feel actually cared about. I don't really have it in me to reply to everyone. But I promise you I've read all of these comments and really appreciate them. I'll try talking to my parents about it yet again next week, but I don't think they'll care. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I grew up in an hurtful home, and I think what is happening with you is pretty bad. This isn't just protective parents. There is a lot more going on with them. They may believe they are protecting you, but they are causing and have caused a lot of damage. For example, your mathematical development has likely been compromised in some way, which is why it's so difficult to learn. No friends and keeping you inside is bad. This is psychological and developmental abuse. They are setting you up to fail in more ways than you probably realize. I wouldn't think of them as necessarily bad people, but they are causing a lot of bad to come to you. I would keep trying with CPS or something. Eventually, you'll get the right person who will make sure someone shows up. Tell them everything, from the longest time you've been kept inside to how you've never had a friend. Everything. Good luck with everything, and just know you got this. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Yes, your parents are doing you a huge disservice. Have you tried going over to the public high school that you are zoned for and seeing if you can enroll yourself? I'm sure there are some general education, English, writing, different levels of math, history, etc. materials on YouTube or online. A very quick Google search led me to this. You can study up and work to get your GED. Now for the update, thanks for all the support and advice you've given me. It's been a rough few days. So after I last talked to you, things got worse. My mom found some old papers in the attic. They were from her own mom, my grandma, who I never really knew. Turns out she was super strict with my mom, just like my parents are with me. My mom showed me the papers and they were full of rules and punishments, just like my life. It was weird seeing that my mom went through the same thing. She started crying, saying she thought she was doing better than her mom did. I didn't know what to say. Then my dad lost his job. He worked at this factory for years, and one day, he just came home early. He didn't say much, just that they didn't need him anymore. We've always been tight on money, but now it's really bad. They started arguing a lot about bills and stuff. I felt bad for ignoring them, but I was also angry they never taught me anything useful to help out. I tried to find a job again, but no luck. I even went to the local diner and asked if they needed help, but they said I needed a resume. I don't even know how to make one of those. It's like everything I try to do to fix my life, there's something I don't know how to do because of my parents. One day I was out on a walk trying to clear my head, and I saw this group of kids from the neighborhood. They were laughing and talking about school stuff. I felt so jealous and out of place. I wanted to join them, but I had nothing to talk about. No stories, no experiences, nothing. It hit me hard how much I missed out on. I came back home and my parents were sitting at the kitchen table with all these papers. They said they wanted to talk. They looked serious. My mom said they were sorry for everything and that they wanted to make things right. They said they'd found a way to enroll me in an online school. I was shocked. I didn't know if I could trust them, but I wanted to learn so bad. We started the online school thing, and it was tough. I didn't understand a lot of it, and my parents weren't much help, but I was learning slowly. Then one day I got an email from the school saying there was a problem with my enrollment. My heart sank. I showed my parents, and they started panicking. They called the school, and it turned out they'd lied about some documents to get me in. The school found out and kicked me out. I was so mad. I couldn't believe they'd mess up the one good thing that was happening. My mom started crying again, saying she just wanted to help me. But it was too late. I felt like I was back to square one. Then yesterday there was a knock on the door. It was a lady from social services. Someone had reported my situation. She talked to us for a long time. In the end, she said that because I'm almost 18, there wasn't much they could do. But she gave me some information about programs for people like me who missed out on school. It's been a tough 3 days. I'm trying to figure out what to do next. I'm still mad at my parents, but I also feel sorry for them. It's a mess. I don't know if I'll ever get a normal life, but I'm not giving up. Thanks for reading. My sister bans my boyfriend from her wedding for being unmarried. So when her fiancé cheats and she's pregnant, I show up and steal the spotlight. I, 42-year-old male, am significantly older than my sister, 19-year-old female, Isla. Even though we have the same parents, they had me young and her old. Despite this, we are super close and always have been, even though I was in my 20s when she was born. We are closer than most of my friends are with their siblings, and she is one of my best friends. Isla is getting married in 2 months to her fiancé, 20-year-old male. They are having a non-traditional mixed wedding party on both sides, and Isla asked me to be her best man/man of honor. I am the only family member in her wedding party. One of their wedding rules is no boyfriends, girlfriends at the wedding, and your partner can only come if you are married. This makes sense, as most of her friends are between 17 and 25 and often in short-term relationships. You don't want random people in your wedding pictures. I thought she would make an exception for me, though, which I know sounds selfish. But hear me out. I have been dating my boyfriend Scott, 45-year-old male, since I was 21. He has been my boyfriend longer than Isla has been alive. We are not married because Scott's cousin is a gay man living in a country where being gay is illegal. So we have decided not to get married in solidarity until he can get married. Scott is like a second brother to Isla, and she has known him her entire life and loves him. Even in her stroppy teenager phase, Isla would run away to our flat and hang out with us for hours. These days, she's always coming around to talk to me and Scott. She is also not hateful. She's been super supportive of me and all her queer friends, and always brags about me and Scott to her mates. Scott and I love each other, have lived together for 15 years, and are very committed to each other. It's not just some fling. Isla told me that she couldn't make an exception because it would look like favoritism, and the rule is no unmarried couples. I asked if she could invite Scott separately, and she said no, although she was very, very apologetic to him and on the verge of tears in a way I've never seen her. I told her that unfortunately Scott and I are a package deal, and if he wasn't invited, I wouldn't be going. I worry that it might be because her boyfriend is hateful. I have never liked him for other reasons, but she is very resistant to criticism of him. If you try to say he's done anything wrong, she'll get super defensive. Isla herself just said that she understands why I don't want to go, and she hopes this won't ruin our relationship. However, her fiancé and my parents are both really angry at me. They're saying that I am being selfish and a jerk and taking the attention away from Isla. Scott has also said he thinks I should go to support her, and although he is upset about not being invited, I shouldn't miss my sister's wedding day. I really thought Scott at least would be on my side, as we are both very upset about him not being invited. But it seems that no one is on my side. Am I the jerk? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I don't understand why people are so afraid of favoritism. If you get married, I would say one set of rules apply for close family and another for distant family and friends. She can say no girlfriend-boyfriend to friends, but what friend would complain if her brother's boyfriend of 20 years is invited? She is way too casual about this. I understand that your boyfriend might say you should go, but of course he will. He won't be the reason you are not going. Still, you should put your boyfriend first, choose him and stay at home. Sister needs to know you are disappointed and that this will hurt your relationship. My bet is her boyfriend won't have a gay couple there, and she is letting his homophobia be more important than you and your boyfriend. She can be as LGBT positive as she wants to, but actions speak louder than words. Comment 2. Not the idiot, and your sister is making a mistake here. She has known Scott as a person, like a second brother, her whole life. This no boyfriend rule shouldn't apply to people whom you have a separate relationship with. I wonder if this is indeed her kowtowing to the hateful wishes of her fiancé and not really what she wants to do at all. That's a bad omen for their future as a married couple if she is so easily bulldozed by him. And y'all are common law married by the rules of many states, so she can stuff it with that non-married people rule. She is also delusional if she thinks this will have no effect on her relationship with Scott and you moving forward. It will eventually. She is just too young and naive to understand it. Now, for the update. Thanks for all the comments on my last post. Here's what's been going on. 3 days ago, Isla's fiancé dropped a surprise. He confessed to Isla that he had cheated on her 6 months ago. Isla was devastated, and I was the first person she called. She was crying so hard I could barely understand her. I rushed over to her place, and she was a mess. She told me everything, and I could see the pain in her eyes. I wanted to hate him for what he did to her, but I had to be there for Isla. The next day, Isla decided to confront her fiancé. She wanted me there for support, so I went. It was tense. He tried to explain himself, saying it was a one-time mistake, but Isla wasn't having any of it. She told him she needed time to think and kicked him out of the apartment. After he left, she broke down again. I stayed with her all night, just trying to be a good brother. Yesterday, things got even more complicated. Isla found out she was pregnant. She was terrified and didn't know what to do. She's so young and her whole world is upside down. She told me she was considering keeping the baby, but she didn't know if she could do it alone. I told her I'd support her no matter what. It was a lot to take in, and I could see she was struggling with the weight of her decisions. Today, Isla made her choice. She decided to forgive her fiancé and try to work things out for the sake of their child. I couldn't believe it. After everything he did, she was willing to give him another chance. I felt a mix of anger and betrayal. How could she forgive him? But then I saw her, so vulnerable and scared, and I knew I had to let go of my resentment. She needed me, so I told her I'd be at the wedding, with or without Scott. It hurt to say it, but I had to put Isla first. She hugged me, and I could tell she was relieved. I felt weak and desperate, like I was abandoning my own principles. But this was about Isla, not me. Thanks for reading. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.